The water calls. It restores and brings strength. Do you want power? You cannot have it unless you trade your life. I am your blessing. I am your curse. You must embrace me. To live, to want, to fight, to see, to die. I come from the depths of the land. I appear like a friend. The world is yours. The universe unfolds. I can bring you life or death. I am water. I am power. I am hope. In a world on fire, I can be your dreams or your nightmare.
Worlds we rise, called by thunder in the sky, pulled through time, through dust and flame. Every soul remembers why. Steel and shadow mark the ground. Every step a chosen fate. On the field where legends meet, we stand before the gate. Hear the echo of the drums below. We let it go, no retreat, no shame. Summon to Valhalla, we fight, we fall, we rise. On the edge of every moment, with fire in our eyes. Summon to Valhalla, no fear, no turning back. One roll decides the future, on the edge of the attack. We rise tonight. Banners are waving, shattered light. Alliances of steel and bone. Every move a sacrifice. No one wins this war alone. From the jungle, from the stone, from the frost and burning sand, we were never meant to kneel, we were meant to stand. Every marker on the line, every choice we can't erase. When the dice begin to fall, reveals its face. Summon to Valhalla, we follow, we fall, we rise. legends aren't just born in flame, they're carved in dust and pain. When the silence finally comes, they'll remember our name. Higher, closer, now we ignite. Summon to Valhalla, we fight, we fall, we rise. Let the battlefield remember how we own the night. Summon to Valhalla, no fear, no turning back. From the dust we rise as legends on the edge of the attack. We rise, Valhalla.
Welcome to TOV Live. It is Valhalla time, and it is time where, well, on this particular Sunday, we have another scenario to look at, and there are people out there that still do appreciate the lore, so we'll dive into it tonight and take a look at it. Why not? Why not? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday to you. I am Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, and yes, tonight we're going to be reading through the free monthly scenario 19, Birth of Covenant. They're free on Renegade, Renegade Studios website. New website, actually, a few weeks ago for Heroscape. And yeah, I'm Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla. I do animations of Heroscape, talk about Heroscape, paint Heroscape, play Heroscape. Yeah, it's a lot. And I also ask just for your forgiveness tonight for just the very beginning of the stream. I am not really with it tonight. I'm not sick or anything. It's just sometimes you have just a day where it's just you're just out of it. And yeah, I'm currently that. I was even kind of half debating whether or not to pop on tonight, but I'm here. I press the buttons and I'm here, so I'm just going to power through whatever I need to power through tonight. So I did have something I wanted to talk about before we get started with the scenario. And Bill Flint first in the chat. Thank you, Bill, for being here tonight. I just want to talk about, and I don't know how my brain's gonna like wrap my mind around this, so I might have to just like shelve this for another time to discuss when my head's a little bit clearer. But lore, the lore of Heroscape storytelling within Heroscape, within any IP, is very, very important. And yeah, that's about as far as I can say about that. Yeah, my brain's just not with it. But no, this stems from a few interactions and against certain individuals that are fine. I have no issues against any individuals, especially like any stance or how should I put it, viewpoint on any aspect of Heroscape. It's fine, their opinion. I mean, that's half the reason why I do these streams, or I do stuff with Heroscape, because it's its own realm of just endless possibilities, and really anybody's opinion is as good as any others. So Bill, do I think Lawrence story is important to Heroscape? Yes, I do. Well, for any intellectual property. Okay, let's put it this way. For any, especially like it's a tabletop game will only go so far. And again, this is my opinion. You're welcome to agree or disagree with it. But any tabletop game or tabletop thing will only go so far when it comes to the mechanics and how it's played. That can be an attraction, and that can keep people going. There's not a doubt about that. But you do see a lot of games just go, just drop. Look, I've Heroscape isn't the first rodeo I've had. Like 20 years ago, for like 5 years, I played and reviewed lots of tabletop wargaming games, and now where are they? Not many have survived. Some might be making resurgences or whatever, but some dropped off the map. And hey, Justin there in chat, how you doing? Yeah, the first Heroscape rulebook starts with a story before it even gets with the rules. Yeah, and I'll get into Heroscape specifically in a second, but let me just start with a broad generalization here. So when it comes to like certain like tabletop IPs, and this can be for a lot of things, a central storyline throughout the IP, to give a person, to inspire people to with a story. I mean, you don't have to have a tabletop game. You just have an inspiring story, and people will follow it, and create games from it. Example: Star Wars. Yeah, Daniel, I think that might be some of it. Hey, G Busy. And like I said, I might have to recollect my thoughts on this. But a central driving narrative is very, very important to an IP. It's stories, again, especially stories you pass along from generation to generation, is what lifts up people. It's what keeps them continuing. It's what keeps people generationally continuing. And for a game, the driving narrative is what can keep a game going as well. I think one of the things that caused Heroscape to fail back when it did is because the who's all here? Okay, Daniel Chance, Justin, Bill, Warpig, and Cody G Busy. Welcome. Back when Heroscape was discontinued, the story got kind of warped. I mean, it was already kind of like it was an inconsistent story. It was like it was in a few creatives' hands, and even today there's some things that still like need to be wrapped up. I know when I was initially going through story with Jeremy many years ago, there was just a lot of things incomplete. There was a lot of questions that you couldn't really answer because you just didn't know. And so what Avalon's trying to do a lot with the lore in these IPs is trying to regain a more storyline. But I'll say one thing though with Renegade, that I think they're trying to approach it kind of like what have you ever character bios for D&D Scape? I mean, and there wasn't really a plot. They were going underground. Why? What? There was not enough answering the questions to why for things. You need an epic tale, and I'll give the example of like Warhammer 40K, which I've dived into a little bit. That has just like overarching storyline. That's just, I mean, it's got so many books to lore. It's very, very, very dark fiction, but that's one driving narrative that keeps Warhammer 40K people going through that. I mean, yes, the miniatures are wonderful, and I'm sure I've never played the game, but I'm sure the game is also attractive for the people to play. But that central core storyline is also a big motivator within that franchise. And I believe Renegade, they're trying to do the same thing with Heroscape, which it can work, but Heroscape is no Warhammer 40k. So a little dark is fine because you got characters from all over, but I personally think, and like recently the writing has been better with these things, but I still think you need a central narrative, like a hero's journey. It can be, you can have a villain's journey as well alongside it, but you do need some characters to really shine, like Drake Alexander. We haven't heard too much about Drake Alexander. I mean, he just does things, but we really need a character or a few characters to have a journey to where they're achieving. They could be going on a quest. They fail. They rise up again, and they take whatever place or win that they need to take throughout whatever journey, and it can continue, and you have like a world of other characters and situations happening around that to really like attract the audience. So I consider it very, very, very important. Unlike some whose opinion is just like, well, I just like to play the game, which is fine. Heroscape is a very attractive game. And there's a lot of people who think, well, I don't need to know the lore. But I think, especially with what we were given, like the last weekend, that a lot of that stuff is connected to the lore, because I think Renegade's trying to make the lore important, but I still think there's still some other things they need to do, even though I think that overall narrative is very, very important, and it can make an IP last for a long time. You got to make sure you tell a good story, and you got to make sure that it's something that can get here into a person's heart and motivate them to keep on going. Yeah, G-Busy. 40k lore is undefeated, but the game is not as good as Heroscape, and proves your point how important lore is to any game's success. Yeah. Now, like I said, it's not the only thing, but stories throughout the beginning of time, basically, since the beginning of time, stories passed from generation to generation is what keeps us going as humans. You'll find stories passed down in every civilization, every generation. So some of the stories might not be great, but it's still what inspires the next generation to continue going forward. So for Heroscape, I think we're climbing up. But I think still a lot more work needs to be done. I don't think I still, even though as much as I say yes, it's that type of strong narrative is needed within this game, because I think it will attract a lot more people to come in and really enjoy that part of it. I don't think they're quite there yet with the storytelling. I'm talking about like novelizations, which so far has only been done by the community. It's got to start having a central core on a few characters. Not saying you can't have stories about other characters or anything, but you do need a driving narrative. But okay, let's see, what do we got here? So Justin says, wasn't just DST, we had storms that woke me up. Oh, okay. At 2 and didn't fall back asleep until about 4:30. Okay. Yeah, daylight savings time. Just says very few character bio. Yeah, I already read that. More pigs waving. Bill Flint, by the way, I like the new intro song from Joe. Isn't that great? And that an aspect is another aspect of storytelling, because it's telling the tale and trying not to get sued, but it's basically telling that tale. Roguescaper, how you doing? Good to see him. All right. Anyway, that's. I guess I kind of spilled that out. I'm going to try and say something probably a little bit more, less ums and ahs, maybe in the future. It'll be talked about. But yeah, I was just thinking about that in the past day. Like, because some people may have said lore may or may not be important, and I'm just like, well, and people, people don't read the lore. Well, guess what? I do. So, how about we get into this, because it is very important. I'll say too, like the first scenario, I ranted on that first bit of scenario lore. Like I ripped it apart. Go back to the first one. I didn't like it, but you know what? I love the potential of where all this can go. So I'm not going to give up. Obviously, I mean, I can see the potential. I made 3 seasons worth of possible potential, so I'm not gonna let go on this. So, yeah, for those of you who don't like the lore as much and like I don't want to read through it, and you know that's fine, But if you really want to feel like more complete and know the reasons why some of the decisions, because I think Renegade making decisions of some of these characters that have to do within the story of Heroscape is perfectly fine, and I think they should do more of it. Albeit, not for it to be too confusing, but Mincher's going to play good either way, so or they won't. Okay, so how about we get into this? So let me just start by putting up here. Okay, taking a look at free monthly scenario 19, Birth of a Covenant. So now we're getting up just before, we're not exactly yet at Wellspring Storm levels yet. We'll get into that in a second, Justin. Okay, let me read through this first. The alliances, yes, the alliances. Quick answer. I don't like it, but let's get into Vision of Siege. And I haven't even read this. I think this is something to do, obviously it's got to do with Vidar and Revna here in this part of the story. So let's read it. Obviously not a someone's journal. Question mark, question mark, question mark. So let me read through this once and then we'll talk about it. All right. The roar of cannon fire rings through the air, reverberating off the crumbling stone walls of the port city overlooking Vile Cove. Queen Kirion crouches behind one such edifice, its surface so marked with bullet holes and scorch marks that it is impossible to tell which are fresh and which were made years ago. Over the din of battle, she shouts commands to the battalion of Blastotrons positioned nearby, their laser fire lighting up the smoke and dust swirling over the shattered streets. Down towards the shoreline, where gladiatrons and gallery alike fight desperately to hold back the horde of pirates. These are a lot of pirates. Kirion takes an opportunity to survey the situation in the ruins of what might have once been a temple on a nearby hillside. Skahan and the Akitas attempt to provide what cover fire they can to the battalion of guerrillinators below, though they are quickly being overwhelmed on multiple sides. Carr, astride the Doggin Dune, is attempting to rally the melee forces at the port, but for every foe the mighty sword of reckoning cuts down, 3 more pop up in their place. A deafening blast only meters away breaks Kirion's concentration as shards of broken wall and shrapnel rain down. The situation is desperate. There's only so long her forces can hold the line at this rate. Is this really how it ends? Suddenly, a new unfamiliar sound echoes from somewhere between her position and the Nikitas. A screeching metallic roar rends the air as the ground erupts in a hail of stone and debris. An enormous mechanical beast bursts forth, its maw a glowing vortex of brilliant blue flame surrounded by a writhing mass of robotic arms. From the opening, more mechanical beings race forward, long chain whips ensnaring pirates as they go. Further down the hill, A wave of insectoid creatures pours from similar openings, followed by a gigantic, many-legged beast. A multi-limbed rider astride another insectoid creature rushes past. "Bow before the might of the Lady Revna," it bellows, as its twin blades and the enormous horn of its steed make short work of a gang of pirates. The sound of wings beating overhead catches Kirion by surprise, and she whirls around, spear at the ready. A horde of undead Kiri descends towards the fray from above. 3 figures break away, landing carefully amongst the rubble before Queen Kirion. She recognizes one from the failed peace summit all those months before, but it is the figure in the middle of the trio that commands her attention. Standing head and shoulders above her escort, her obsidian-feathered wings, though somewhat disheveled, are impressive nonetheless. She wears a black dress adorned with an intricate array of bones. Behind her flows a cape that seems to be fashioned from a pair of large leathery wings. As Kirion looks up speechless, the Valkyrie looks down at her with bright emerald eyes glinting from a skull-like mask shrouding her face. "Queen Kirion, I presume," the Valkyrie states in a melodic, strangely calm voice. Ooh, I know who this is. Yep. "I am Revna, Lady of Murkheim, and shepherd of the flock that willingly bears my name." Her emerald eyes sweep over the battle below, pirates now in full retreat, in the face of terrifying reinforcements. "I have admired your work from afar for some time now, and I'm here to propose a covenant between myself and your General Vidar." She smiles, offering a pale hand. "My people are in need of a homeland, and your lands are lacking in people. I think we have much to offer one another." No, don't do it. Kirion regards the Valkyrie for several long seconds before reaching out. Slowly, and taking Revna's hand in her own, she pauses for a moment before speaking. "Then I suppose we have much to discuss." All right. So we'll read through this again, because I want to read Revna's description again. This is the first time we get a solid description of who she is. GB says Concon 2.0 is orders of magnitude more interesting in both terms of game mechanics and lore because the lore gives him a reason to be, which I love. Yep. By contrast, Concon 1.0 is vanilla, and I wouldn't tell you the first thing about him outside the fact that he has a castle. Dana says Revna is perfectly normal and can always be trusted. No. That's not right, Daniel. That's not right. No. Yeah. Okay. So let's read through this again. But yeah, when it comes to the alliances, let me just say that real quick in general. The alliances that were basically kind of known and announced during Renegade Con. Do I like that was Renegade's decision with moving the lore forward? No. Overall, no, I don't like it. But I'll say it with a caveat. I understand kind of where the story could be headed, and just because everybody's allied now doesn't mean they're going to be allied forever. Would have I done it a bit differently? Probably. More than likely. Maybe the allyship would have been a little bit different. When it comes to like Kirion and Revna, now this story that we're reading, this part, Kirion's kind of like there's a reason why she probably made this alliance, even though, because it's either this or dying. She might end up dead anyway, siding with Revna, but that's another take. But yeah, for me, Jandar and Utgar, House Jandar and House Utgar, let's just put it that way, just makes me feel like it's like putting two magnets together that like the opposite, both like the same side, like two magnets, the same sides that are not supposed to attract each other, and just forcing them together. You know, like okay, Utkar, Jandar, just. Although there's no Bill Flynn. I like they reference a lot of classic army figures in the story. Yeah, let's look at that too. But let me fetch. I think the Valorak Einar actually alliance makes sense. That I think out of all the alliances so far, that one makes the most sense. So Warpix says, how long till Ukar shows with the Revenant unit? I think Ukar just needs to show up. He ain't dead. I'm gonna say that. He ain't dead. Even though Sonya, yes, in the lore says he's dead, but that's from her perspective. She didn't actually see it. And yes, he fell into a lake of lava, but off camera. So I'm gonna stick with that. Okay, let's continue with this. The roar of cannon fire rings through the air, reverberating off the crumbling stone walls of the port city overlooking Vile Cove. Queen Carrion crouches behind one such edifice, its surface so pocket-marked with bullet holes and scorch marks that it is impossible to tell which are fresh and which were made years ago. Over the din of battle, she shouts commands to the battalion of Blastotrons positioned nearby, their laser fire lighting up the smoke and dust swirling over the shattered streets. Down towards the shoreline, where gladiatrons and gallery alike fight desperately to hold back the horde of pirates. Now, one thing also, that there's the one part of this story for me that just seems less believable, just because of how like a lot of the miniatures play. Bill Flint, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's because there's a chance in the game to survive lava, so there's a chance right there. And if anybody's going to have the chance to survive lava, it's Ukar. It wouldn't surprise me if Ukar actually has, like, can withstand lava. You know, like has basically can is able to bathe in lava. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Anyway, when it comes to the pirates, I think one of the least believable things from this whole storyline is the fact that the pirates are basically in here. Okay, the pirates are all along here. Okay, better see. You see that? See that? And somehow, some way along like the entire coastline, well, okay, they're not like coming into the entire coastline, but there's certain spots all over the place where they have enough forces to storm everyone at once and to have enough people to get to the wellspring that is around here, or I think it's around here, so somewhere here. I think it's there. To have enough forces to get to here, and they are so fearsome enough to just like to have everybody so worried against these pirates that they're allying against. They're making these allegiances with each other, who once were probably fighting against each other, are making allegiances to fight this pirate threat. I would find it more believable. If lava resistance. Yep. Maybe Ukar has a lava resistance special. Hey, exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. I would find it more believable if the pirates played better in the game. It's like right now, yeah, we're getting new ones, and yeah, there's new characters coming in that's going to make the pirate build a little bit more viable. But from the get-go, they should have been better. They should have been like the top. Like, we only had essentially two kinds of armies in Gen Con last year, and they really didn't have anything to do with the pirates because they weren't that good. So the pirates are kind of just, they're there in our collection, and then you start reading the story where the pirates are just overwhelming everybody, and it's like, I'm sorry, I don't see it. Again, we're talking about things within a story and you try to have characters that thematically represent the story that you're telling. So what looks good on paper, a lot of times on the actual battle board might not work as good. So I mean, there is that. Like I said, it's not really something that it like destroys the lore too much, but it just kind of would leave a person thinking, well, then why aren't my pirates as good as they should be? It is more targeted raids for what it's worth. Yeah, the attacks are individual crews carrying out terrorism, no sustainable war, and definitely use some suspicion and disbelief for the amount of pirates. Exactly. Says Daniel, who's bad about, by the way, guys. He was with me last Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be with me this Wednesday to go through the rest of the stuff. So, I mean, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to lore. But no, I'm just saying, it's like, yes, I understand. You know, there's only certain points that they're going to, but that's still spreading out. You know, your characters. If we were spreading out the characters we currently have in our collections, it would just be like 1, 2. You know, just one unit each for each one, and I don't think that would be overwhelming. That wouldn't be overwhelming. Kyrian, this as so aptly described in this. Now, the writing in this is really good. I really don't have any problems with the writing here. So Kyrian takes an opportunity to survey the situation in the ruins of what might have once been a temple or a nearby hillside. This is something that I was thinking in my head. It's like, okay, everything's so ruinous. You know, we need to have some destructible objects that are actually kind of like ruins that you can like break apart. You know, I'm not talking about like a door that opens. I'm talking about like maybe like stackable ruins, or type of ruins that are like can be pieced together, but you can start breaking them apart to where you can break off a piece of it and still have one remaining, to where you still have a line of sight blocker on one part, but you could break off one part too. That would be kind of cool. We need a lot more variety when it comes to those type of terrain builds. The shrooms are a fun thing. Not going to complain about the shrooms, but like I said, you could have like a ruined city. You know, how fun would that be explored? Like you just that's what you call the terrain pack. You know, the ruined city of whatever, or just the ruined city pack, or and so you have some buildings that are halfway complete, some are crumbling, and you're just able to put those on the board. I know it takes a lot of work, and you gotta figure out how that works on a hex board, but that would be kind of cool. So expansion. Okay, Skahen. Now I know they're naming all these. It's kind of cool that Skahen is one of the first mentioned. Wouldn't it be great if we get a Skahen 2.0 or a Master Wu 2.0? We need monks. Who wants more monks? I'm all for more monks. I don't know about you. We only have like what? Wu and the monks. That's it. We have to have some VC stuff, but I take more monks. And a Skahen 2.0 might be fun as well, since Skahen, like OG Skahen, which I do have, is really hard to get. Extremely hard to get. Same for, do I have an OG Skahen? I know I got an OG Wu. I don't think I got an OG Skahen. I think I do have a Skahen, but I think it's like painted or whatever. And the Nikita's attempt to provide that cover fire, or what cover fire they can, to the battalion of guerrillinators below. So nice to see guerrillinators, though they are quickly being overwhelmed on multiple sides. Like I said, it's overwhelming for it. Says, I know Danny is saying like this is like targeted raids or like terrorism, but this is pretty overwhelming. It's like taking out a lot of people. Carr, astride the dog and doomed, is attempting to rally the melee forces that at the port. But for every foe the mighty sword of reckoning cuts down, 3 more pop up in their place. A deafening blast only meters away breaks Kyrion's concentration as shards of broken wall. Again, we need broken walls, because it's describing it right here in the thing. And shrapnel rain down. The situation is desperate. There is only so long her forces can hold the line at this rate. Is this really how it ends? Well, you're holding the line. You can withdraw. The widow definitely had to hire a lot of squads. Oh yeah, you can hire people. Yeah. Oh, can you imagine? Actually, okay, this is the type of stop motion animation thing that comes to my mind. Think about it. Okay, there's not enough pirates in the game for this type of thing, right? If you're showing different cuts of pirates, like even if it's like, say, just 10 ports, or even like 5 or 6 ports that they're just attacking at once to distract the Valkyrie generals, and it would have to be at least 6. Wouldn't it be cool if, like, you do a stop motion animation version of this, you had the widow and she starts hiring VC minis that really don't belong in the game, but then they start showing up, on the shores of Valhalla, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm pirates too. That would just be, again, a whimsical satire type thing to put in the game. That would be fun, because that kind of makes a statement too in the animation. Or even a common pirate squad hero would help justify the pirate's presence. Daniel says, would recommend adding non-pirate squads to Crimson Fleet armies in scenarios. They're the fleet of defectors don't feel beholden to just a pirate unique. Yes, yeah, and then this is what I'm saying when it comes to Widow can contract everybody. How about just VC minis, We have a bunch of VC minis. Let's just say they all, got tired of the fact that they're not recognized by Renegade, and they just decide to join sides of the pirates. Okay, contract me. Anyway, all right. Suddenly, a new, unfamiliar sound echoes from somewhere between her position and the Nikitas. Okay, a screeching metallic roar rends the air as the ground erupts in a hail of stone and debris. An enormous mechanical beast bursts forth, its maw glowing vortex, a brilliant blue flame surrounded by a writhing mass of robotic arms. It's very nicely written, just telling about what the situation is. I mean, this would be, if I could do it, if I had time, this would be a fun battle to animate. I don't have the time, but I'm just saying. Someone could contract me, but I don't think it's going to happen. But this would be a fun one to animate. I mean, we already seen like a little version of what the Hellforge Manticore can do, because I already showed like a small bit of that. Can you imagine just like a Hellforge Manticore just going into an army of stuff? Just from the opening, more mechanical beings race forward, long chain whips ensnaring pirates as they go. I like to have like those two, the Wraith Riders, chain like up. I don't think it's in the game, but chain up a character and then throw it into the Hellforge's maw. That'd be fun. Further down a hill, a wave of insectoid creatures pours from similar openings, followed by a gigantic, many-legged beast. Scourdire. A multi-limbed rider astride another insectoid creature rushes past. The one that I haven't got yet. That I always forget the name. Yes. Bow before the might of the Lady Revna, it bellows as its twin blades and the enormous horn of its steed makes short work of the gang of pirates. Thraxus. Thank you. Yes, Thraxus. Or Thyraxis, yeah. The sound of wings beating overhead catches Kyrian by surprise. Okay, so here we go. First thing we know of Revna here. The sound of wings. Catches Kyrian by surprise. As she whirls around, spear at the ready, a horde of undead Kiri descends towards the fray from above. Okay, that would be, that would probably be these. Yeah. We already got a weird story about these guys anyway. Oh, a horde of undead Kiri. Did we ever think we're going to see the day where, I mean, we had zombies, we had other undead things. Now we have just undead Kiri. Undead Kiri common squads, basically, because that's a common squad. Wow. Descends towards the fray. From above, 3 figures break away, landing carefully amongst the rubble before Queen Kyrian. She recognizes one from the failed peace summit all those months before, but it is the figure in the middle of the trio that commands her attention, standing head and shoulders above her escort. So Queen Kieran, Revna is big. Her obsidian feathered wings, got black wings, though somewhat disheveled, are impressive nonetheless. So Revna's got like black wings. She wears a black dress adorned with an intricate array of bones. Black dress, bones. That kind of reminds me of like, is Revna like the Grim Reaper? Is that kind of the representation we're seeing here? Behind her flows a cape that seems to be fashioned from a pair of large, leathery wings. Okay, so she's got a cape. And I don't know if that cape is black as well. It seems like maybe it's more brownish. So a cape from Kyrie wings, I suppose, which is just horrific. Talk about making a deal with the devil. As Kieran looks up, speechless, the Valkyria looks down at her with bright emerald eyes. Okay, so it's got emerald eyes, green eyes, glinting from the skull-like mask shrouding her face. And she's got like a skull. So white skull, black. It's the skin suit from Valkyrie. Okay, so she's taking Valkyrie. Right. All right. So Valkyrie, just that's just horrific. It's like, okay, she's basically saying, okay, I killed your bad guy from so many years ago, and this guy, you know, only had a few units, a few minis, was freaking out, and guess what? I killed him. And I just don't kill him, I wear him now. Make no deals. Make no deals. And Kieran, okay. So the skull-like mask shrouding her face. So is the skull mask, or is the mask actually a skull that's serving as a mask? And is that skull Valkyrie's skull? That's one question I want to ask. If anybody knows that, but that's something I would ask. Queen Kieran, I presume. The Valkyrie states in a melodic, strangely calm voice. So it's like you see this vision of horror in front of you. This Kyrie vision of horror, gigantic, and it's still, but it's got, you know, it doesn't say soft, but it's melodious and kind of calling to you. Daniel says, Revna taking the classic kill them and turn them into a approach that Destiny players have. Oh boy. It's hard to tell. Okay. Dark Souls vibe. Okay. There's just it's Grim Reaper vibe to me. I'm just saying. I mean, all she needs is like the scythe, you know, just to go, I killed you. I am Revna, Lady of Murkheim, and Shepherd of the flock that willingly bears my name. Her emerald eyes sweep over the battle below, pirates now in full retreat in the face of the terrifying reinforcements. Of course, because, well, let's put it this way. We've seen from Revna comes the basis of the two armies that basically swept the competition in Gen Con last year. So that actually makes sense. I have admired your work from afar for some time now, and I'm here to propose a covenant between myself and your General Vidar. She smiles, offering a pale hand. My people are in need of a homeland, and your lands are lacking in people. This is a big mistake. I think we have much to offer one another. Kieran regards the Valkyrie for several long seconds before reaching out, slowly taking Revna's hand in her own. She pauses for a moment before speaking. Then I suppose we have much to discuss. Okay. No. That ends it. And okay, I know Carry On. It's kind of like between a rock and a hard place. Put on her perspective, okay? She doesn't know where Vidar is. Vidar should be the one making these decisions, and he's off on a whirlwind adventure. And she brought 485 points. There you go. Yep, exactly. So I understand that Carry On doesn't have many options, but like, because Carry On has to understand something. She doesn't have too many cards to barter with Revna. What does Revna want? She wants Carry On's lands, or let's just say Vidar's lands. No. Because if that's the only card you have for this alliance, and Revna has all the other cards, yes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but after that enemy of your enemy is gone, then what does that enemy become? Your enemy. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Like I said, a lot of these alliances, I don't see them maintaining themselves. I think it's more circumstantial things happening. So, hopefully, now what ends up coming from all of these alliances and where the storyline going. I hope there's ramifications for a lot of this, like a lot of storyline plot ramifications, because it'd be great to get personal journeys for how some of these factions fall or rise, and like backstories and stuff. Like if you want lore, like pour in the lore, like figure out why everybody's doing this from the very beginning. What's the motivation? Where are they going? And you have so many plot lines from so many characters. You can go on forever for this. Or Big Vidar has to be watching. You would think, but who knows? Sending messages to Vidar and not getting a response back. Well, what are you supposed to do? So, yeah. Now I'm saying that from that storytelling perspective. Now, as far as like this, how this is written, I'd say it's pretty excellent. It really shows a really good picture of what this scene is, and it's not that long of a scene either. It's just basically you have a little bit of battle at the beginning. Carry On is getting her butt handed to her practically, and all of these classic Vidar warriors are just being overrun by pirates, and I can almost visualize the scene too. I'm a very visually oriented person. I can visualize this out. And they're about to have to retreat from this, and all of a sudden, in come the bugs, the Isonex, these undead Valkyrie. It's really good. And then we see Revna, like a nice detailed, very detailed description, so detailed that it makes me wonder, like there's always a speculation, since we have Thorman as a Valkyrie and it's labeled Valkyrie, it would not surprise me in the slightest that further down the line we're going to be getting other Valkyrie units. And by all means, yes, I know some people don't like it. I say yes, let's go. Let's really make this game fun, because I feel like it needs that type of expansion to be really, really big. Like we were discussing earlier before we started reading this, Warhammer 40k is like story is its driving factor. There's so much to it within the lore and characters, and even small characters. Just very, very deep. And this is something we need to work on and establish for this. I already have a great game mechanic. I already have, you know, great synergies. We like the past like 20 some years since Craig Van Ness started this game. It's a good start, but it's still something that just needs to grow and expand, and to do it well, because this has happened too much with a lot of IPs within the last 10-15 years, to where a lot of them, storytelling wise, are just either getting destroyed or they're getting told in a way that a lot of people just don't like them anymore. This needs to be done well. The story needs to be told well, that in a story that people will be attracted to. And yeah, so hi, there's the challenge, and there's the story. So that's taking a look at, well, this isn't a Thorman's journal. This is actually just a vision. Nobody's writing this. This is just a narrative of this battle, Vidar pirates, Revna showing up at the end, and how an alliance, a covenant, is made. So that's taking a look at that. All right, taking a look at that, and now let's take a look at this. Okay, so online scenario 19, birth of a covenant. And let's look at the map here. Okay, so I only need 3 sets: Age of Annihilation Master Set, Urban Lands of Valhalla, and Age of Annihilation. Even if you don't have AOA Master Set or Urban Lands of Valhalla, if you got some Marvel stuff, I think you probably have to work with that. Which, with the exception of like these walls here, we obviously don't have these walls. That's in the Urban Lands. Then ruins at Lower's Edge, so you just need a little bit more ruins. So this is a ruinous area. I know we got plenty of ruins, but we need more. Range is going to be weak in this map. Yeah. You have to do more melee. Unless you can destroy stuff. Well, let me see if you can. Sometimes you can destroy this stuff in these scenarios. Let's see. Alright, let's read this. Decades of War. Let me say a little bit of a shoreline here. Decades of War ravaged Valhalla and its denizens. Communities displaced, villages razed, landscapes forever changed. And if not many of you know a lot of Heroscape lore within Valhalla. War, like there were so many civilizations in Valhalla that have just been so destroyed over many generations of Kiri and Valkyrie, that everything's just ruinous. Everything's destroyed. It really is kind of like a dark universe. It definitely has those themes. So when I read this, I'm not too surprised. Some of you out there, when you read this, you might be like, oh, very interesting, but I started this stuff like 10-15 years ago. I kind of know a lot of this already. Let's see here. It seems every region of the continent has been touched by the conflict brought on by the discovery of the well springs, though perhaps none more than Anund. Okay, where's Anund? Let's go to the map. Right there. There's Anund. So this Anund is northwest of Valkyrin. It is and there's Upper Bleakwood, so this is around where Ukar's fortress is. So it's like southeast of where Ukar is, nearly directly south of where Jandar is, Ular is. So yeah, that's where Vida resides. And then Onstrom, I believe Onstrom is where Einar is. So, and then you got Hakaland. That's like can't even see, it's over here. But anyway, where was I? Okay, homeland of the Valkyrie, Vidar. Pollution from the Morrow infestation has turned the waters flowing from Bleakwood undrinkable and deadly to crops. Villages and cities have been leveled years by battle, and the landscape is strewn with the rusted husks of fallen soulborgs. On the shore of a noon, overlooking the crashing waves of Vile Cove, stands the remnants of a fortified village, little more than a skeleton of its former self. So this is kind of like the aftermath of the Swarm of the Morrow too. Morrow just like destroyed so much and it's never been allowed to heal. Under the command of Queen Kirion, Vider's forces have converted this ruin into a makeshift command post using its strategic positioning on higher ground and their knowledge of the maze of crumbling walls to their advantage against would-be invaders. How big is the mainland of Valhalla? As far as miles? I don't know if we were ever given like a legend to where like if like this is a mile or 2 miles. We never were. I don't think we were ever given this. I mean, I think actually this is more, I don't even call this too much of a continent. I think the main continent's here, like Takala Jungle. You know? I don't think I don't know if we do. I don't know if there's ever been an official mileage marker for the main map. Something to ask. Something to ask Renegade to come up with that, because I don't think so. I don't know if there ever was anything like that. At least not to my knowledge, or me remembering. Okay, so that's the map. Okay, well it's just a fun. You know, you got your height advantage here. You got line of sight blockers, walls and stuff. And that's how it's built, so yeah, simple enough map. And let's see where they start. Okay. Birth of a Covenant master game. Many of the surviving civilians of Anund, they're still civilians, fled to other parts of Valhalla long ago. Okay, there you go. Leaving the land a hollow shell of its former glory. But not all are gone. Queen Kirion has held fast and rallied the remaining survivors and Vider's troops to defend their home. Now, as the pirate fleet launches its surprise assault on the coast of Valhalla, she and her followers make a desperate last stand to repel the invaders from the sea. Though it lies in ruin, its land is still their home, and it is a home worth defending to the last. Ooh-wee. And this is it seems like a pretty quick. Yep, crumbling ruins. Okay, so the ruins do break apart in this scenario. There you go. Okay, goal. Player 1's goals prevent player 2 from capturing both control points on the map. Okay. Player 2's goal is to have the figures they control on both control points simultaneously at the end of a round. Player 1 drafts, brings a 450-point army. Player 2 drafts or brings a 550-point army. Player 1 starts in a blue starting zone. Okay, yep. Player 2 starts in the brown starting zone. So I'm the water, basically. Yep, basically the water. Place any player 2 power glyphs symbol side up on the location shown in the map to represent control points. Glyphs' normal powers are ignored for this scenario. Victory. If player 1 wins at the end of round 5, they still have the figures under their control in the battlefield, and player 2 does not have figures on both control points. Player 2 wins if at the end of the round they have figures they control on both control points, or if they are the only player with figures left on the board at any point during the game. Okay, so it's kind of like defending, like a lot of defense. Special rules: debris. Moving a figure on an asphalt space costs 1 additional movement. Okay, interesting. Crumbling ruins. The lower wall sections marked on the map. Instructions in both fortified wall pieces count as destructible objects with the following stats. When a fortress or lower wall section receives enough wounds to be destroyed, remove it from the battlefield. Okay. So apparently Okay, so yeah. When a fortress or lower wall section receives enough wounds to be destroyed, okay. Remove it from the battlefield. So defense 4, attack of 4. So I think, I don't know who was it. I think it was Slugger, R.R. Slugger, when he was given his review on the Secrets of the Citadel. He was talking about how I believe it was a Slugscaper. I've listened to a few content creators like over the course of like the last week, their reviews on the new stuff, and I believe it was Slugger that was saying that like the mushroom so much because it had no defense. It just had life, you know. So yeah, and it's like that's how, and their thought was that that's how it should be, because how does, you know, an inanimate object roll for defense? How can it defend itself? But here the ruins do have a defense you roll for. Now I think it's just because the structural integrity is a bit tougher, so it would you know, I think that's what that represents. So we might still see destructible objects that still have defense. You got to roll for them just because they're not going to be as lightweight as like a mushroom would be. So yeah. So there is that. But anyway, so yeah, the stats there: when a fortress or lower wall section receives enough wounds to be destroyed, remove it from the battlefield. Be sure to leave lower wall connectors, pillars in place when removing wall sections. Falling debris. Whenever a figure adjacent to a crumbling ruin is targeted for a normal or special attack, that ruin is also affected, and the defending player must roll defense dice for the wall as well. There you go. When a crumbling ruin is destroyed, all adjacent figures must roll a number of attack dice equal to their defense value. If at least one shield is rolled, nothing happens. Otherwise, that figure takes 1 wound. Interesting. So there's even a scenario for if debris falls on them, they could take a wound. That's that's interesting. So we got 450 points, 550 points. Still a handful of minis you could probably have for this. Bring in the pirates. Actually, you can even like conscript some Isonex to be pirates, and then have put it up against some Vider forces or stuff. Have some fun with it, you know. But yeah, so that is the scenario. What do I think about it? It's okay. It's pretty good. When it comes to the rules of debris and crumbling ruins, I mean, we already had crumbling ruins before, I think, on a previous scenario, so that's been done. Falling debris, I don't think has been done. So it's funny, I was imagining it when we were reading through the lore, and I didn't even read this, so I was reading my mind basically. So it's a fair enough, quick, relatively quick game for being just you know, 5 rounds, because really it's not going to take you too long to either get on those control points, or you know, someone defends enough to where it stays off them. So if it goes for 5 rounds, then it'll be some quite a game, some quite of a game to play. But yeah, let's take in a look at that. When it comes to this online scenario 19, Birth of a Covenant, for the master game, I wouldn't say like good job, Renegade. It just, you know, I'd say it's pretty good, and another one just to shelf up and save up for the future. All right, I guess that is that for tonight. Here, I'm gonna throw this up here, and like I said, brain's not with it, but here, this So, at least I got the scenario done. And it's going to be interesting because we know some lore that's happening in Secrets of the Citadel type stuff, but the scenarios haven't caught up to that moment yet. So we're looking for, in the coming months, a scenarios and lore having to do with Thorman revealing himself. Excuse me. And that'll be something to look forward to, for sure. So, yeah, with that, I guess I will bid you all a good night. And this Wednesday, I'm going to be looking at the rest of the Secrets of Citadel with Battlebrow or Battlebrow, Daniel there in the chat, and hopefully my brain will be a lot more engaged than it is right now tonight. But yeah, and then after that, well, we'll see. We'll see what we can do in the next few weeks too. I'm sure there's gonna be things that we still have to take care of. So, and other things are gonna, yeah. So definitely not gonna run out of things to do anytime soon. So right now we're just trying to catch up with what we need to catch up with now. So with that, again, like, share, subscribe. If you have not yet got Secrets of the Citadel stuff, link in the description below if you want to help out the channel in any way. Thank you to those who have, because some of you have, and I appreciate you. Yeah, affiliate link below. And you got to actually be careful, because when it comes to the affiliate link, if you're not purchasing directly on like the Renegade website, and you go to, like, if you press the Heroscape button on the Renegade main page, you actually, and this is something that they got to fix, Renegade has to fix, you actually sign out going to the main Heroscape page, and you got to sign back in. I don't know if that affects like some with an affiliate link, so if you do use the affiliate link, just make sure to order on the website. Just hit order instead of Heroscape, so that way you can get that purchase in, hopefully. There's a lot of things about that Heroscape website that they really need to fix up. Bill Flint, hopefully this Wednesday, talk about possible common pirate squads and how the story affects characters. I think we will get into some of that for sure. Bill Flint says good night and good lucky with recovering with time change. Appreciate you, and Warpick, you as well, for sure. Have a good night. We'll see you Wednesday. You have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it, and we'll see all of you next time. Good night now. Bye bye.